There was a time, dear friend, when we talked about theater of the mind. I was thinking about this today. It came upon, I don't know where it was. I was just absolutely overdone, overwhelmed, overwrought, oversaturated with the usual tropes, the same memes, the same nonsense, the same cavalcade, the same concussion of usualness. And during the course of this, I was just relaxing a bit. And I love to listen when I want to either go to sleep or nap or whatever. I love to hear voices, human voice. And I happened upon an old style rendition transmission of Art Bell. And Art Bell, it came through from Parumph. And it came through even staticky and how do I say this? It came through not close but far away. It just had that sound to it. And that's one thing people don't understand because of the sound, because it may not sound perfect, but it's just like when we heard albums and I remember thinking, this is the greatest show ever. And nobody ever, George Nuri or whoever tried, just could not do it. Do you understand? And there was something that came about, something that made me sort of think. And then I was listening, I was watching. Don't ask me why. I am blasted. I don't watch conventional TV. Every night when I'm on WABC at night, or morning, whatever you want to call it, from 1 to 5, I see, for the first time, I see screens, and it's the most horrid drivel I've ever even. I can't believe how horrible it is. It is so unimaginative. It is so boring. It's cable news. Dear God, stick a knife in me. Don't make me suffer this anymore. I can't take it. How do people watch this? And then I was watching my regular phone, and they had Dr. Brian Cox. Dr. Brian Cox in the black hole. Well, just shut up with your black hole. I'm so tired of this goddamn black holes. I'm tired of them. And the best part is I don't need any kind of telescope for what I want to do. I want to go in to my own head. I don't want to go and travel anywhere. I don't need to look at telescopes. I want to travel within the level of imagination of my own thought. Just thought experiments, just things. AI, singularity, and alignment are absolutely blowing. Art Bell never understood this. I want to talk about mental illness and evil spirits, UFOs, extraterrestrials, and are we brethren? Transhumanism and superhumanity. And I mentioned AI, AGI, consciousness, and the parietal lobe. Oh my God. Transcranial electromagnetic stimulation and induced feelings and temperament. And what it means to think and learn and be and exist. Dear God. Look who it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Klana Steve Dreamkiller. How are you, dear friend? Whoever was behind the Mel's Hole series on Art Bell deserves an Oscar or an Emmy or a Nobel Prize. Hope you're well. Indeed, sir. Indeed. But I want, somebody said LSD or mushrooms. I don't want anything additional other than just thinking. Just being able to think. We were talking for the first time how Mrs. Ellen and I were discussing how the Pope, believe it or not, is talking about this wonderful thing called ethical AI. And I'd say, I'd love for him to do this, but I don't really think he understands what it is. But I want to stop for 1 second. I want to bring you up to speed on something. I want to make you aware of something. I want you to understand and to grasp something in totality, in toto, as it were. I want you to understand this one. There is a special deal that is available. Look, my friends, you know and I know that ever since COVID, millions of Americans have started buying prepared supplies. Preparedness You know what this is. We're not talking MREs. We're not talking going hunting over the weekend. We're talking long stretches of time. You know this. I know this. Especially emergency food. And that's a good thing. It's a good thing, yes. But I say to you, there's a big mistake most people make with their emergency food supply. They don't have any way to cook it in a real emergency when the power is out or the grid is down. That's why our great friends at My Patriot Supply created their Black Friday Survival Special. It comes with a 4-week food supply plus $150 worth of free gifts. I know they're tautological, but listen to what I'm saying. Free gifts, including everything you will need to prepare your emergency meals, like a cook stove, fuel, fire starters, a water purifier, a bug out bag, and more. Remember, what do you need? Food, water, energy, and ammo. I can't help you with the ammo, but the rest I can do. It's the complete survival kit your family needs to ride out natural disaster, civil unrest, or whatever the hell these bastards have planned. And it also makes a great Christmas gift. Great for that friend, great for that college roommate or friend or whatever the hell it is. Doesn't matter. Give it to anybody. But it's only available through Black Friday. So go to preparewithlionel.com. Use this link on the description section right here. Preparewithlionel.com. Go right now to preparewithlionel.com to check out everything that's included. With all the uncertainty in the world right now, we simply can't afford to be unprepared. So go to preparewithlionel.com right now and get prepared today. One more time, Dave. That's preparewithlionel.com. When Mrs. Ellen and I were talking about, we talked about somebody that we knew, a very, very talented young man who happened to be working, believe it or not, with the Pope, with the Vatican. That's great. And the Pope wants there to be ethical AI. Ethical AI. Wouldn't that be groovy? Wouldn't that be lovely? Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Abui. Get it? Bob Abui, get it? He joins us. Thank you, Bob. Appreciate it. I want to sit down with Il Papa and say, your graciousness or eminence or whatever the hell you are, miss, your grandiloquence, sir. There is no such thing as ethical AI or AGI because it controls itself. Let me stop right now. How many people raise your hand? You understand what that means? It controls itself. Art Bell didn't understand that. It didn't understand that. We've never had anything that controls itself. We've had wildfires. We've had things that may be kind of a little bit kind of crazy, but we've never seen anything like this. Do you understand what this means, my friends? Do you understand what it means? It has no precursor, no predecessor. Do you understand? Raise your hand if you understand what that means. So when the Pope wants to start something that is benevolent, that is ethical, good for you. Johnny Lillane, by the way, says some people will get AI augmentation. Some will never even get a tattoo. Yes. Well, the thing is, it does not matter what happens to you. It will be in your world, Johnny. And thank you, sir. It will be in your world. How do I make this clear to you? How do I make this even clear? If an AI ever claims to have a soul, how would you test it? It tells you this. If we build a machine that feels pain, we become its parents, its captors. What are we? Years ago, I asked people this question. This was something they had a hard time understanding and grasping. If you were to clone yourself, and if you were to clone yourself, and if you were to find yourself in the position, by the way, of doing something in which you took an egg, an ovum, and you evacuated that, you put in your DNA, and then zapped it with some little electricity, and all of a sudden this thing started to split into meiotically separate and all this other kind of jazz. What will that be in relation to you? What will it be? What? Is it your child? Is it your brother? Is it your offspring? Is it your property? No, it's you. It is a genetic copy of you. It's a younger you. It's you. So at the end of your stay, when you're in the hospital and they come to you and say, hey, listen, about time for that bill, we'd like for you to pay for it. Oh, I'm not paying for that. Oh, you better pay for that. It's yours. No, it's not. There might be some kind of possessory interest in it. Some kind of possessory interest, like I would, if I had anything else. But you couldn't hit me with support because it's not my child. It's not my son. It's me. And what happens if it decides that a human emotion is a flaw, not a feature? What if AI says, I have emotions too? Is it mimicking you? Superhuman intelligence? If consciousness emerges in some kind of silicon, medium, would it fear death? Would it understand or grasp immortality? What if it didn't have immortality? Could it be stopped? At the moment of singularity, who decides what's moral? This is where the Pope was getting into ethical. If we upload the mind, does the original self die or does it split? Imagine you take a Joe Biden, take your uncle, take your grandpa, take somebody you love, and you connect that person, little USB, little in the back of the little portal. And all of a sudden you upload to that person everything they need to know about you or themselves or the world or whatever it is. And they seemingly, or also can be downloaded, they never can go away. You just take grandpa and put him into some vessel that would allow you to talk to grandpa. Is it grandpa? Sure sounds like it. Art Bell never heard anything like this ever. Didn't grasp it. Couldn't understand it. Could an AI or AGI function ever create a new religion built from logic but not faith? What if it finds itself in direct conflict with that of the biblical, that of the Quranic? If we find, if memory becomes digital, who owns the past? Can we go back and remove your past? If AI outlives us for 1,000 years, does it inherit the earth? Who takes this? What happens if an AI judges nature as inefficient and redesigns the biosphere? What if it says we're going to fix this? There was this commercial in the 70s. It was chiffon commercial, butter, margarine, that says, it's not nice to fool Mother Nature. If a machine rejects God, who taught it the idea of God in the first place? Who did teach God? Does it understand God or is it taught God? Gravity's never taught, it's shown. When AI writes laws, who interprets mercy? Does this make any sense? Does AI know justice, mercy, compassion? If AI simulates every neuron, can it also mimic guilt? Can it also create indifference, psychopathy? Remember, Art Bell never had this. He had a little bit about robots, baby, but his whole thing was, I think, in the AI, the whole notion of extraterrestrial. And with AI and AGI, something that has a 900 IQ, superhuman intelligence, they will be able to figure out on its own without us all of the problems, all of the issues, all of the questions, all of the query, all of the questions that really affect us. If we live forever through uploads, do we lose the meaning that comes from limitations? And what is it if I take you out of you and I plant it into this function, this chip, this petri dish, this vase, this, is it you? Could a machine ever defend free will if it can't feel temptation or urge? Or does it free will? You know how many we have been talking about free will. Who was it? There was the fellow with the beard from Berkeley, quite the mind. There was no such thing as free will. Free will. If AI predicts every human action in advance, what does even free will mean? If you know what's going to happen, what happens when AI reaches a point where we can't turn it off or turn it on, and it understands that fact, and you become a problem? You do. If an AI creates another AI, which one is the descendant? Does it even make any sense? Is there such thing as aversion? Remember, through recursive self-improvement, it's always rewiring itself. And when AI learns the darkness, the venality, the cupidity to an extent, the craziness, the depths, the anger, the disgust of human motive, will it mirror us or correct us? These are the issues which would be great in a religion class. Did you ever have any kind of catechism? Did you ever have anything when you were in school where you talked about morals? What are morality? What does morality even mean? Is morality an individual regulator, or is it because of God? Do you not do something because of, why don't you kill people? Because I don't want to kill people. I don't want to kill people. Do I not kill people because of God? Of course not. It's not why I don't kill people. God has nothing to do with it. Because if I want to kill somebody, I'm going to come up with a good reason why I'm going to do it. I'm going to come up with a damn good reason. It'll be necessary. I've got to do it. It's war. Listen to what we're saying. We sit around and we don't ever sit back and ask kids just to think about this. Sit back and just rap and think and consider where we're going with this. Art Bell never heard of this. Never. Do you understand what I'm saying? Never. There was always the idea of iRobot, maybe, I guess a person who sort of was, I guess, I don't know what you want to call it, a kind of a cyborg, which is a very new term. By the way, very interesting thing, which I want to bring to your attention. Did you know a little bit of history, which is interesting? Did you know that you've heard of transhumanism? Oh my God, transhumanism is something that we have always loved. And the idea was so wonderful. But transhumanism, as you know, in fact, Alex Jones was so wonderful. Alex Jones, Art Bell. Alex Jones one day will be considered one of the greatest absolute minds that we have ever had. Not only political. We are hitting a brick wall regarding politics. Do you find yourself thinking this? Let me ask you something. Who finds himself saying, okay, we've heard it all? I've heard everything about Israel, everything about Palestine, everything about Gaza. I've heard everything about Mamdani, about moving. I've heard about budgets and left and right. And I've heard about Candace Owens and Tucker. And do you find yourself just hitting this brick wall like, enough? This is boring. Somebody's got to come up with something new. You want to talk about Trump? Trump pardoned some people. How many of you, raise your hands, have said, I can't take this anymore? Somebody says you're politically homeless. This isn't interesting anymore. I'm tired of this. Sometimes I'll go through these things where I will eat something so many times, like every day, and I'll say, I can't take this anymore. I just can't. You ever had a cologne? You ever do that? A little cologne? By the way, men, maybe ladies, but men, little tip. When you're putting on a little cologne, a little parfum, put a little dab, a little spray on your abdomen, not your stomach. Stomach is an organ. The abdomen is this area. And your natural body heat will mix with it in your own chemistry, and you'll be able to, you'll exude the scent of this, but not like some Cuban con saucillo. You know what I mean? You won't, some people will just way too much of this. Anyway, you ever have sometimes you say, ooh, I don't like that. I can't take this anymore. The news is killing me. I'm feeling intellectually parched. I'm feeling intellectually bereft, abandoned. I feel like I'm just bored. Or it's terrible news. Or nobody seems to want to care about this. And then the idea of transhuman. Oh, sit down with God. Sit down with the Pope. See, transhumanism is a belief that humanity can and should use advanced science and technology and genetic engineering to move beyond the limits of the natural human body and to create a new enhanced form of human life. It treats biology as kind of upgradable behavior and identity as editable software, who you are, everything. There's no such thing as you're born that way. It includes everything from simple prosthetics to full biological redesign. It covers AI-assisted cognition, neural implants, synthetic organs, gene-edited embryos, engineered intelligence, boosted wild memory, altered emotions. It aims to eliminate disease, aging, weakness, and in I guess some cases, mortality. It sees evolution not as process or some processes guided by nature or fate or God, but as a system that humans can seize and rewrite, rewire. Anybody got any problem with that? You got a problem with that? Who's got a problem with that? Anybody? Raise your hand. Come on. Anybody got a problem? Anybody got a problem with that? Anybody? Anybody got a problem with that? When do you say you can't do this anymore? You got to stop this. Somebody said the other day one time, it was at the time when I remember I was getting my eyes checked, and he says, "Hey, you got a cataract like way out here, and it may not move in. It's out here, but if it gets closer and closer, and you get that, what do we do?" I said, "Get a new lens." I said, "Well, what if I do you do any kind of, corrective surgery? Because get a new lens." Yeah, okay. Remember in the old days, remember cataract surgery, those big, thick Coke bottles that you just wore? It was so sad because that was the lens. Now it's nothing. It's a new lens. Don't worry about glasses. Get a new lens. That's okay, isn't it? Isn't it okay? Isn't that okay? Well, when does God say to you, no? No, 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 no. When? We like our baby, but we don't want it too dark. Can you fix that? Sure can. But wait a minute, your family is very dark. Sorry. Thank you, Rick Rohr, for pointing out the likes. I need your likes. I need them. I'm sorry. I'm not gonna lie to you. When do you say, no, I don't need this anymore? I'll just fix it. I'll just fix it. God will say, excuse me, yes. Kind of what I do is based upon this limitation called life and gravity and age. Yeah. So everything you're doing, it's groovy and everything, but why are you doing that? Did I okay this? No, you didn't, God. Well, why are you doing it? Because we can. Because we can, God. You see, transhumanism, oh my God, this is so great. It includes the idea of merging humans with machines, humans with animals, chimeras. This means brain-computer interfaces that share thought with AI networks. Everything. You don't have a computer. You don't have a calculator. It's in your head. Everything you want to know. You're a walking GPS machine. And you're logged in to something through Wi-Fi or through something else, which means it can be bootable. But a consciousness that attempts to preserve identity after death, and synthetic bodies designed to replace organic ones. And let me tell you something. The priests are going to say, I don't know what the hell to do with this. The line between human and machine, blurred, gone. And the distinction between a matter of preference, not biology. Most importantly, listen to me. This is. I remember Alex first talked about this. Transhumanism challenges every single idea and foundation of our life. Everything. It questions what a person is. Who owns this modified body? Who controls a modified whatever end or whatever the hell this thing's called? This mind. And are you your mind or is it you? And what future engineered human even counts as the same species? When do you say it's not even human anymore? And it asks whether moral rights can survive when intelligence and strength and all this stuff. Look, in short, transhumanism is the movement which will redesign the human being from the cell to the soul. It'll replace kind of chance and, well, let's see what happens with control. And it's the most radical restructuring of humanity since the first spark lit, the local campfire. And by the way, this is interesting. Do you know the history? I was looking at this, the history of transhumanism. Oh, I love this stuff. It didn't appear overnight. It began as a kind of a quiet little idea, kind of hidden somewhere inside the early science fiction. By the way, science fiction became the basis of everything. Science fiction philosophy, fringe scientific dreams. I don't know if Art Bell ever talked about this. See, the first roots showed up in the late 1800s. Who was it, of course? That's right, H.G. Wells. And he imagined redesigned human beings, engineered intelligence, and evolution gathered or guided, if you will, by human direction. And the stories that they planted were incredible. And they planted the seed that biology could somehow be corrected. This is H.G. Wells. And that became part of the whole notion, this great thing about the cyborg, which we'll talk about in a moment. But the idea of these things, they're not really human. And then the early 1900s, scientists began talking about eugenics. Selective breeding. And the idea that society could produce stronger, tougher, faster, smarter, stronger people. And those movements collapsed, of course, as you can imagine, sort of under their own cruelty. Yet, the desire to shape humanity, do you think it ever went away? Nope. No way. It just moved into a new language. The 1950s, cybernetics. That was really interesting. Cybernetics. What a great idea. Cybernetics. And this idea, this, I guess, I don't know what the word is, but this new version of this computer means something. Norbert Wiener was the name. He and others studied how machines and systems, organic, whatever, could share kind of like feedback loops. This is the idea, of course, of merging man and machine. This blew people away. This blew and at the time, nobody really caught on because it was just nuts. It was just crazy. The whole notion of feedback loops, this idea that cybernetics is this, they define it as this transdisciplinary study of organization and control through feedback loops in both living and non-living systems. The concepts of feedback and recursion to understand how systems sense their environment, and then you're constantly, and this, by the way, led to, remember they said recursion, because self-recursive improvement. This is what the whole notion of AI and AGI is. But this is the part where they said, this is kind of how animals and things work. They're always getting new information. And that's the part of this thing called learning. And nobody really understands learning. In 1960, this Manfred Kleins from NASA came up with the idea of cyborg, a self-regulating human machine. Isn't this great? That this hybrid designed to survive harshness. And then later on, here's some great names. Did you ever hear about this from the 80s and 90s? FM 2030 was his name. Max Moore and Natasha Vita Moore. They argued that aging and disease and sickness and biological limits, maybe physical, mental, intellectual, otherwise, were engineered problems, not destiny. And the period produced the first formal transhumanist manifesto. This was critical. And the early, remember cryonics, which aimed to preserve bodies for future revival? Oh, this Ted Williams. And by the 2000s, breakthroughs in genetics and stem cells and artificial intelligence and AI and bioengineering, I mean, it took off. CRISPR, gene editing, DNA. So today, transhumanism is something that I don't even know if anybody can even grasp it. And there's no way they're going to grasp it. So what I'm telling you, dear friends, and I haven't even hit any of the good stuff, we don't have to leave our home. Just think. Just ask yourself questions. What if, what if, what if, what if? It's the greatest story in the world. You don't, again, there's no need for any of this stuff. It's the most incredible story I've ever seen. It blows my mind. And what I see, more often than not, what I see is just the world sitting back and letting a handful of people determine the fate, not of just us, but mankind. And who's in charge of this? Nobody. Art Bell didn't know this. Art Bell kind of knew maybe it could exist, but he didn't understand this. He couldn't see this. And you're worried about Zoran Mamdani? Shit. I mean, come on. This is like being high. When your brain just, when you think something beyond the realm, when somebody first came up with the notion that you couldn't go faster than the speed of light and all that kind of jazz, and Einstein twins paradox, and no, I mean, what? And again, black holes never really turned me on, but it blew your mind. We need to have schools eventually one day to have kids that come in who get their minds blown. So what bothers you today, my friends? Where do you go? Where do you go? You want to talk about? Go ahead. Talk about Zoran Mamdani. I'm so bored. Let's see what happens. It's just too much. He's a communist. No, he's not a communist. He's a socialist. Maybe he'd like to be. He's going to have a hell of a time. You just don't on your own say, I'm a socialist, and this capitalist system says, no, you're not. Yes, I am. No, you're not. I mean, you can be, but it doesn't work this way. And we keep saying this. And I expect more from us. Because remember, we are the leaders of this. We were the ones who were there before anybody else even knew about conspiracy theories and all this. That's what makes us so special. So that's what I hope we do. And that's what I hope you do. And Johnny Jelaine, you were so good. Baba Booey, you were terrific. Look at this. Clona Steve Dream Killer. I hope the practice is going well. I hope your hypnogenic, whatever the hell it is that you do, works. So much stuff. I want to get more thinkers and listeners and dreamers and imaginers and daydreamers and people who are into revelry and excitement and just musing. We used to do that. Art Bell inspired that. But what we're seeing now, he never knew popular. Ladies and gentlemen, our friend Angelo, Sal Angelo says, listen, Lionel, listen to America City Suite by Cashman and West. Perfectly defines New York City at the present time. American City Suite, I'm sorry, is that a podcast? Is that a song? There's Carla. Everybody loves Carla. Carla says, can't complain about the future mayor of New York. Look who visited the White House today. You know what? I'm sorry. I missed that. Carla, pray tell, who missed? Who came to the White House? I don't know. Forgive me. I don't know. I should care. I missed it. Sometimes I'm saying I've had enough. Will somebody tell me who came? I'll wait for you to tell me. It takes a while. OMG, LMAO. Okay. I think better at 1 a.m. on 77, right after the line of minute. Yes, tonight it's different. And thank you, Leon. You tell people about this. We are going to get, the president of Syria. Is that what happened? I would be the worst president because I would say, I don't care about this. Malachi Martin and art. Ah, yes, that was wonderful, wasn't it? Wasn't that something? You know, I like sometimes when there are great Catholic theologians. And one of the most interesting were the Jesuits. I know people always get, but we always love the idea of people asking questions. You know, what do you think about that? And why do you think that? I spend so many times when I do the radio on WABC 70. By the way, I hope you got my email today on Nikki Glazer. Not her per se, but on this horrid and vile human being. This horrid and vile human being. You understand this? It's just how she laughs about trafficking and the like. Don't understand any of it. Any of it. But, my friends, I'm tired of these people. I'm tired of hearing about the shutdown, the government shutdown, Lindsey Graham, Chuck Schumer. Can you follow that? Seriously, are you following this? Rand Paul's worried about hemp. I don't know what the hell he's talking about. Hemp? What does this mean? I heard it'd be done by Friday. This is from my number one person in Washington today. Be done. It's done. It's a matter of time. Freedom, that's just some people talking. Freedom says there will never be another Art Bell, awesome audio and online host, just like the Vin Scully calling a baseball game. Both men so full of life. And he created something, but Art had that, the years of the smoking and the baritone and his delivery. He was so perfectly connected to that. He was just wonderful. And you know, when you listen to, I mean, sometimes I thought it wasn't that he said anything. He had a guest that said something, but he opened your mind to the fact that what you're hearing isn't that crazy. I can't verify this, but I can at least open my mind to it. Oh, I'm most open to this. Do you know what this is going to do to religion? Oh my God. Wait until the world gets down to business and we find out who is in charge of what's going on in the world today. Wait till you see, I'm still going to find this. The American City Suite, Cashman and West. Let me see this. American City Suite by Cashman and West. Pretty good. Let me see about that. I like that. That's my dictation. Ah, yes. Classic song of the day. People going, coming, trolley car was humming. I will listen to this. I've been listening to so much incredible, great music. I cannot tell you. You have no idea how I love the music that is playing today. It's the thing that keeps me going like you cannot believe. Cannot. It's just one of those things that we're just so, oh my God. But in any event, my friends, so much to discuss. Tonight I'm going to be doing this at 1 o'clock. The parietal lobe. Oh my God. We have a friend of ours in the family. They're having a baby. And their families, their parents are happy. And I said, you know, what nobody seems to be missing is the beautiful part about what a baby means. And what people don't understand about how these things sort of kind of work. Where is this? There's this wonderful thing, the parietal lobe kind of here, occipital here, parietal, but right kind of here. You know what I mean? This here part. And it's my favorite part of the brain. And I was a psych major, whatever that means. Doesn't mean a lot. But it's sort of, you know, we had some rudimentary analysis and the like. And it was so wonderful. The first time I first heard about it, because it made me consider what was going on. Sal Angelo, by the way, Sal says it made the Billboard's Top 40 in 1972, was a popular song and long forgotten, talked about how New York was once a great city and now it's been overrun by crime, poverty, and no longer the same. This was in 1972. I thank you for that. Thank you, Sal. You know, Sal, one of the things I've noticed about New York City is that everybody always talks about this is the end of New York City. Believe it or not, Sal, you know who said that before? Sal and Carl and everybody else. You know who said that? Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro, of all people, said that it's kind of a parlor game, so to speak. This parlor game of everything that's going wrong with the world today, especially with New York. Carla says, do you own a record player or do you prefer CDs? Carla, I used to have a wonderful, wonderful albums, and now I just don't have any. I don't have a CD. I just have a Walkman or something I listen to. I don't have a CD. I've got some CDs that I've saved, but everything that I want, everything that I need is on digital. It's an MP3. It's on somewhere else. And I'm seeing things. I'm playing stuff. Let me give you an idea. On my private channel at Lionel Media, I have these wonderful songs that I go through. And I was listening to Emma Hammer, or Hammer. She plays this wonderful guitar. How about Animals as Leaders? Boz Scaggs, old Steve Miller, the Doobie Brothers in the Tiny Desk concert. Listening to the great guitar player, Melvin Taylor, the original 10cc playing Not in Love, Eric Clapton and Vince Gill, Lay Down Sally, Bruce Hornsby on BBC Radio. Remember Gary Wright and Dreamweaver? He was a Spooky Tooth. David Byrne, I love. Of course, Once in a Lifetime. Shelby Means, Streets of Boulder. Tommy Emmanuel, have you heard Matteo Mancuso? Oh my God, he's Sicilian, and he plays. I've never seen it. He plays. You know, normally you play kind of little claw hammery kind of a thing. He plays like he's picking at something. Billy Strings and Chris Thiel, or Thile. Have you heard Molly Tuttle? And Molly Tuttle is a female blue flat picker. She has alopecia. Incredible. Donald Fagen explaining concepts for jazz. Avicii. Pacific Gas and Electric. Megan Wells. Del Reeves and Jerry Reed. Sam, the Sham and the Pharaoh. Wooly Bully. Okie from Muskogee. Joe Maphis. The Collins Kids. Darren and Brooke Arledge. Oh my God, they're just going on. Old Stones, I love. Evan Nicole Bell. John Mayall, Peter Green, Keith Emerson. Laurie Morvan Band. Old Grand Funk. Merle Haggard. B.W. Stevenson. Remember My Maria? And then Brooks and Dunn did My Maria. Greg Allman, Taj Mahal, Chris Stapleton. The Texas Tenors. Mateus Asato. Have you seen him? Japanese. I think he's part Japanese. Not real. Not real. And it goes on. Michael Reno Harrell, Peter Gabriel, Hot Jazz in Nashville, Tommy Emmanuel, and Nora Germain. There is such music that I would never have ever been able. I heard Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars, Natalie Imbruglia, Robert Earl Keen, I love, Vonda Shepard and Emily Salyers from the Indigo Girls, Raul Midon, NPR Tiny Music Desk, Herbie Hancock. Oh, Guthrie, the great guitar player. Let me see. Seasick Steve, the Brazillos, the Brothers Comatose and A.J. Lee. Fantastic. Les Champs-Élysées. It goes on and on and on and on. There is so much incredible music. I don't even know where to start. Sal says Boz Scaggs played with Steve Miller in the original Steve Miller Band. You know, Boz Scaggs had a bar in Frisco called Slim's. That was his, and he was very, very good. He's terrific. Freedom writes, over the road, retired now, listening to art late at night would keep anyone in full suspense without needing a cup of coffee to stay awake. He was absolutely wonderful. Sal Angela says, Lionel, you mentioned 10cc. Have you listened to Cry? Oh, by Godfrey and Cream. Yeah. Oh, terrific. Absolutely. Lol Cream and, oh, yeah. Remember, you don't know the feeling, but you don't know how I feel the pain. And they did the transition. Remember, it was this very interesting, very nascent, very immature period of graphics, and they showed these transitions one into the next, just like Aha, Take on Me, One of the most brilliant pieces, and combining sketch with Morton Hackard, who has like a 3 octave range and a 4, whatever it is. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm Not in Love is still one of my favorite songs because he's not able to admit it. He's in love with her, but he won't admit it. Because I'm not in love, so don't forget it. He goes, I keep your picture on the wall. It's just to cover a nasty stain. It's nothing special. I'm not in love with you. I just, I don't. It's no big deal. It's just because. It's wonderful, wonderful songs. And did you ever see the story about how 10cc put this together? They didn't have any. They ran tape 16, 32, 64, 120. The same thing that happened for Money. When Pink Floyd did Money, they ran this tape that just, the door opening up. And it was their genius. It's wonderful. And when I listen to this, and I close my eyes and I put on a sleep mask, I am transported. And then when I hear a song that I heard when I was 12 years old and fell in love with, and I listen to it today, and it's the same song. And 55 years later, and I'm listening to that song that I listened to the 12-year-old me loved, and we still love it. And it's just as good. And at 12, I got it, and I understand it now. It's that permanency. It's truly the soundtrack of your life. It's this thing that, and everybody must play an instrument. You must play something. I don't care how small, how slight, how uninvolved. It teaches you math. It teaches you space. It teaches you movement. Sal says, Lionel, the song I'm Not in Love was about Kevin Godley's wife telling him how he never mentions the words I love you. So he mentions all the reasons that he loves her by saying I'm not in love. Yes, I remember that. And yes. He also, if you recall, why did they get rid of him? I don't know if it was Kevin Godley. Godley, great. No, I think it was the piano. Graham, it was the piano player. Played the Fender Rhodes, I believe. I could be corrected. My dad had a record player that would flip the vinyl and hold 5 records. He loved Glenn Miller. Oh, my God. Remember that when you had, the songs that you listened to. When I was a kid, the first thing, before anybody, told us what to do, it was my mother played Sergio Mendes. That was the first thing I ever remember. I just remember my mother going crazy. Then my mother played Jobim and Sinatra. Then an album we ordered, Cannonball Adderley and Sergio Mendes again. Another one we ordered was Bridge Over the River. I mean, not Bridge Over River Kwai. Bridge Over Troubled Water. Paul Desmond, who was with Dave Brubeck. And then my father, we had this old stereo where you lifted the lid. It was like a furniture. They had this kind of shitty turntable and a couple of spaces to put an album or two. And they had the Wi-Fi, the hi-fi, AM, FM. It's lousy, no antenna really. But we played Louis Armstrong, Hello, Dolly. Please Release Me by Engelbert Humperdinck. That was my father's favorite. And whenever we would eat on a Sunday, any event, anything special, we'd crank it up and put on Engelbert Humperdinck. And that was the sign. That was like, we're having fun. Very, very simple. Very, very wonderful. Very, very terrific. Then I would bring my mother in and I would play stuff for her. I turned her on to Deodato, CTI, a lot of the jazz stuff. She turned me on to like Sarah Vaughan, Carmen McRae. So we both shared. But when I started off as a kid, what provided my kind of like my foundation, like, okay, you're going to start with something. You might as well start with this. I'm sure that in Syria, somebody starts with their music or something else. I didn't start off with the Beatles. I didn't really get that. I was too young. I didn't really understand radio and the Beatles. I didn't really get that. But Sergio Mendes, oh yeah, and then Joe Beam, oh yeah, that was it. And Sergio Mendes, I mean, I remember one time a friend of mine had the Brazil '64, not '66, and then Lanny Hall was married. She was in the original group. She was eventually married Herb Alpert, and she was that sound. And then when Mashkenada came about, that was George or Benjor. That is the anthem. The anthem. It's been played by everybody. And Colo de Rio, I'm not pronouncing it correctly, but in Brazilian, see that Brazilian music that killed me. When I heard Flora Purim, oh, and Elis Regina, oh my God, there's a woman named her name is she's with a group called Brazilian Love Affair. Her name is, I'll think of it. It is incredible. Sal Angelo writes, some of the best radio you will hear today is listening to Casey Kasem's American Top 40 on Sirius XM 70s, 7 Saturday mornings. Oh yeah, quite nostalgia. Yes, indeed. And and thank you, Sal. What I liked about him, I just liked his voice. He made me think it's Sunday. Somebody mentioned Kurt Gowdy, or Joe Garagiola, or Dizzy Dean. That was Saturday. I heard that, the games in the background. Chris Schenkel, bowling. That was Saturday. When I remember as a kid going to my first radio station, I thought radio stations were so cool. Ooh, with turntables, and they were really, wow. And I remember one time this one guy, Chuck Monroe, invited me. I was a freshman in high school. He was very nice to me. And he invited me, and my parents took me there, WDAE. And he played Polk, Sal, and Annie for the first time. And I met later on Tony Joe White later on, but it was really something to go to a radio station. Was really like, ooh, because the radio stars were stars. They were hippies. They had long hair, and I never really got into them as much. But during their day, oh my God, we work with the great Cousin Brucey. Cousin Brucey is a part of American history, and you got the cousin. He would call people in Vietnam, and there's pictures of him talking to the Beatles when the Beatles were, I can't say we did that, but ours is a different story. And this is our radio. This is it. We were talking about, again, concerts and music and how it just, oh my God. There's so much great. I hope you get to see Carnegie Hall sometime. It really does sound that great. I was there one night that heard Arlo Guthrie and heard Joe Beam at Carnegie Hall. Most incredible thing in the world. Make sure you teach your children how to play an instrument. Make sure you learn how to play when it's not too late. You've got YouTube. Learn something. Get a keyboard. You don't need to get a what am I trying to say? You don't need to get a piano per se. There he is, my friend. Sparky says, did you like Girl from Ipanema back then? Absolutely. The girl from emphysema, as we called her. And what did it for me was when you hear Sinatra and then Jobim singing it side by side. Completely different. That brasileiro sound, that the way the samba punctuated, so not tall and tan and young and lovely. the girl from me. Nima goes walking and then Joe Beam says, ba da 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 ba da bam bam ba linda ba da ba 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 ba. He kept within the framework of the 4/4, but in and out and bopping and samba, bouncing around, ahead of the beat, behind the beat. It's all over the place. Loved it. Sal Angelo says, I think most talk radio guys are excellent music historians like yourself. Some of them are, maybe, but mine's just limited. It's what I grew up with. What I grew up with, my period of time, that's it. But it's something that let me tell you something, it's the thing that keeps me sane. It's the thing that makes me say, no matter what they do in the world, they can't take this away. It's going to be very scary sometime when you hear AI and AGI play something that sounds so good. You're going to say, I just love this. I don't really care who. Do you care who played it? Who bought it? No. I told you my friend, I think I told you this. I had this great buddy, Bobby Weinstein. And Bobby Weinstein, there was a place we had on 57th Street called Kennedy's. And one day I was sitting there, and he was having lunch or something like this, and it was really good. I said, he kept doing this, kind of like doing like this. I said, what are you doing? You expecting somebody? He said, well. Well, I said, well. Because he worked across the street. He said, I don't feel I'm going to drink. I said, put it in front of me. It's fine. You drink from what you want. Makes sense. Anybody walks in, I'm drinking it. And we start laughing. I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. So I asked him, I said, so what do you do? He says, well, I think he worked with BMI at the time. He says, I wrote some songs. I'm the president of the Songwriters Hall of Fame. I said, really? Dude, yeah. I said, would you happen to have written a song that I knew? He said, well, maybe. Going Out of My Head with Teddy Randazzo. I think, oh my God. Little Anthony goes, yep, that's me. And he was really happy because Luther Vandross covered it and he was getting some nice residuals. So as we were leaving, in the front of the bar, there was a woman sitting there. And he says, you know who this is? I said, no. She said, Bobby, don't. There's a woman, she's blonde, kind of not big. I mean, but just hearty, good shape, I said, no, I don't know who it is. He said, you know what she wrote? And she says, Bobby. She says, well, she wrote, to do run, be my baby, baby I know, then he kissed me, the do-wah diddy, Christmas, baby please come home, remember this one? Hanky panky, my baby loves a hanky. Chapel of Love, Leader of the Pack, River Deep Mountain High. I said, who that was? He says, Ellie Greenwich. She lived across the street, I think at the Park Vendôme, right there on 57th Street. And everybody lived there. Everybody lived there. Everybody lived there. So anyway, so that was this. And I loved songwriters. So then one day, he said, listen, I'm having, oh, look at this. Just a second. Carla says, obrigado, Sparky. Lionel, the piano teacher told my mom I was hopeless. My musician record label owner husband agrees. What? No. No. It's impossible. It's impossible. It's the wrong key. It's the wrong music. It's the wrong song. Let me go back to the story. When Jobim did dun 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 dun, Da da dun da dun 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 dun. Da da dun da dun dun dun. Da da dun da dun dun. The one note samba. No, no. Everybody can sing. Everybody can play music. Oh, no, 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 no. I promise you. Everybody's got, within range. But when I went to the Songwriters Hall of Fame 2 years in a row, I couldn't get up. I couldn't go into work the next day. I just couldn't. It was the most incredible thing I have ever seen in my life. To hear at this Hilton and see all these people, Liza Minnelli for Jules for Charles Aznavour. She did a song called "The Party's Over." Oh my God! There was a group. Gloria Estefan, I think, was introduced by maybe you heard of her. Her name is Joyce. She still is a Brazilian bossa nova singer, Joyce. There was Mitch Miller introduced Frankie Lane. And Frankie Lane hadn't sung in New York. I don't know how long. I mean, it was one thing after another. Judy Collins introduced Bob Denver. Or John Denver, Bob Denver. By the way, I told you the story. I was in the John taking a squirt next to John Denver. And I said, let me tell you something. I don't care what these people say. Marianne, Ginger, who gives a shit? You were Gilligan Island. And don't forget that. And he laughed because it was Bob Denver versus John Denver. Music is the stuff that still makes me go berserk. It's my drug. And when I put in my beloved Spotify rotation, I defy you to find anything that's even remotely consistent. There is none. There is nothing. Anyway, what a great night. It came out of nowhere. Carla, the cooking CEO, thank you, my darling. Thank you, Sal, Angelo, Sparky. Sal, you were so nice and so kind tonight. Thank you so much for everything. I appreciate you immensely. Freedom, I thank you. It just, what a nice, just getting away from this crap for a moment. Thank you so much. You are so, so kind. Johnny, Jelaine, thank you. Bob Abui and Klonistov, our stove dream killer. Good doctor, thank you. And don't forget tonight, make sure you listen to 77 WABC from 1 until 5. It's the overnight. It's the witching hour. It's beautiful. Don't forget to follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. I need those YouTube subs up, the subscriptions. For some reason, somebody's got her picked out. I don't know why. But they do, and it's not fair because she's doing nothing to deserve that. So go to Lynn's Warriors and follow her. Don't forget, I also did a brand new story about how Cat Williams beat a $1.7 million judgment. I did that on Lionel Legal, so check that out. And again, my friends, please like and subscribe to this. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you sign up so that you're notified of any new videos or live and the like. Anyway, thank you so much. You are my family, mi familia. Mille grazie, muchísimas gracias, as we say in West Tampa. In any event, have a great and glorious night. Don't forget tonight, 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Eastern Time, 77 WABC. You can get the app or listen to WABCradio.com. Until then, my friends, remember, monkey's dead, show's over, sue ya. Da-da.